Hey, what's happening, everyone? It's Dealer back with another 50th anniversary G.I. Joe review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Zombie Patrol Dual Pack from the 50th anniversary run. I gotta say, this is one of the more interesting two packs. It's the only one that comes with two like figures, and as a result, we only get the two file cards, or the four file cards, depending on how you look at that. So you would figure each figure would have a set, but the two collectively only come with the one set. And I don't know, maybe that's an error. Maybe, maybe it's supposed to come with a set for each figure, but mine only came with the one set. And that's not bad. Doesn't really bother me. I have plenty of zombies to go around, so not really sweating that. But as per the usual, there's the bio if y'all want to read it. We're going to set those off to the side, and we're going to come right in, set him to the side, and just take a look at the one figure real quick. And I want to spend some time talking about this guy, because for what it is very impressive, and I hope that shows through really good on the video. You have all of this finite detail sculpted out, and you got the kind of the blue highlights where he's got tissue exposed. I would say this figure here in my top 10 favorites of all time, just because, and yeah, I mean the body looks kind of plain, but everything you get as far as details on the mold itself is outstanding. And they could have taken some extra liberties and maybe dry brush the hair or whatever, but I'm not going to spend too much time on my soapbox about that. Nice yellow paint on the eyes, nice black paint surrounding the teeth, which are sculpted very well. Let's see how much my camera lets us get in here. Gotta love technology, right? There we go. So yeah, so you can see that the teeth are sculpted in there, and that is some amazing work on the details. You got this, I'll just back this up real quick. You got this web gear here that has these 4 holes. So each pack will come with 2 Compound Z canisters. I think that's what it's called. As far as the story went, Cobra voluntold some troopers that they were going to go through this process, and what's weird about it is they retain all of their military training but become kind of drone-like as a handoff. And they also enhance their want and lust for combat, which I find interesting. So moving down let's just talk about this real quick. So as far as your movement, the web gear doesn't really hinder movement. This is probably one of the better articulated figures in the line. I mean, you can actually make use of that extra piece of wrist articulation and be like, "Rawr, I'm coming to get you." So yeah, you can achieve some pretty cool poses with this guy. I mean, literally, you can have him like looking up at someone as he is, on the ground. I'm gonna eat your brains. So yeah, so good range of motion. I think the sculpting on these upper thighs kind of impede forward motion, but I mean, there's enough range that you can pretty much achieve whatever pose you would want. So I love this. I can't say it enough, but that double knee joint is amazing, and then you get pretty good range of motion. I do like how they broke this up here. I'll go grab one of the 30th ones, but just off top, I don't know if the 30th ones had this, but we'll confirm here towards the end. Again, you got great attention to details here, which, I mean, I wouldn't expect anything less from whatever team is doing this, because they've been nailing it since the pursuit of Cobra. And maybe they've had a changing of the guard, but nonetheless, like, you got these exposed tendons and whatnot. You got kind of the uniform garb's been damaged or deteriorated, and you see the flesh showing through. This is, like I said, this is probably one of my top 10 favorite figures of all time. Putting the zombie bias aside, I mean, he looks phenomenal. You got the clean tampographed or whatever Cobra symbol on there. There we go. Yeah, I hope that shines through pretty good. So, yeah, so good attention to detail there. See how one. Oh, there it is. Okay, we'll just remove this for a quick second and take a look at the Cobra symbol that's applied underneath. And as you can see, pretty clean. Pretty clean. And how that's not really like the centerpiece. I'm glad that they took that extra attention to detail when applying it. This is the one thing I hate about modern era web gears. Sometimes when you undo it, you will not get it to go back on. But it looks like, for the most part, I got it. Oh, and these should be noted that when you, and we'll take a look at that when we swap the arms, but these are free floating bits of cloth. Again, more attention to detail that they did not overlook, and I am very appreciative of that. So you also got the nice upper torso swivel with a little bit of articulation there. So, I mean, these things are really, so what do we got here? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 points of articulation. 19, 20 if you count the psh, 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 psh. So, I mean, for a 4-inch action figure, that is, again, setting the bar for what an action figure should be: move, present, pose, etc. So, yep, I love this figure. I'll go ahead and swap his arms out, get his buddy's helmet on, and come back and we'll take a look at him when he's all decked out. All right, so I'm back. So I got this guy kind of halfway broken down here. I figured let's do this on camera for good measure. So as noted earlier, he has these 2 little free-floating bits of cloth that kind of hang out on the upper forearm there, right above or right below the elbow joint, and then there's his 2 hands. So we'll move all this off camera here. So I have not been able to, on this offering, just pack this back in real quick, or on the 30th offering or this offering, to get these arms to kind of secure in good. I mean, they peg in nice, and it kind of, you know, there's no like gap per se, but wow. But what I was going to say was they don't quite peg in as secure as you would want them to, and maybe that varies from figure to figure, but that's what he looks like with his appendages attached on, and that's kind of funny. But again, each figure comes with 1 compound Z canister that plug into these back pegs here. What was weird is when this figure was originally announced, it seemed like each figure was going to come with enough to peg in at least 3 to fill all the holes on the back of the helmet, but not sure if it was a cost-cutting measure or what. When these figures hit, they each ended up coming with a helmet and 1 canister. So I have mine displayed sort of assorted. Not all my zombies have their helmets. The ones that do have the full 3 canisters that peg in. But I mean, you still get some pretty good like poses or whatever. I'm looking at that. It looks kind of silly, but you guys get the gist, right? And for good measure, if you wanted, I don't know how good it's gonna go now that we're like trying to do this on camera, but if you wanted, you could actually have him like roar, and perhaps, see, I knew this bat was going to be good for something. So there it is, yeah. So you can somewhat make it to where he is literally grabbing people up and ripping their heads off. That's what I'm talking about. And I would expect nothing less. I would expect nothing less from a G.I. Joe figure. I should be able to do these kinds of poses with, you know, with any figure. But again, G.I. Joe coming in where they do, they set a very high bar and a new standard, as well as a unmatched precedent as to what it means to play in the action figure arena in this scale. Just emphasis on in this scale. So all right, so I'll get these dudes geared up. We'll do some side-by-sides and come back from whether or not, or come back and let you know whether or not I recommend adding these guys to your army horde. So here they are amongst some of their fellow zombie compatriots. And this here is the 30th Zombie Viper run. And there are some clear differences. For one, the highlights, looks like they actually, on the 50th here, focused more on the highlights around the hands. And this here, I was right. I knew that looked different. So they incorporated some flesh details on the kneecaps, whereas on the 30th, they just went straight down with the fatigues or the uniform or whatever. But yeah, I mean, outside of those little differences, they are practically the same figure. And you can never have, well, here's what I'll say. You can never have enough zombies. So if you see this 2-pack hanging out at your local store, you definitely want to grab this, especially for whatever they're hitting for. I think they just went through a price hike because when they came out, they were $14.99, and then now they're creeping up like right around somewhere $16.99. But even still, with the price hike, this Troop Builder pack is definitely worth adding to your collection. You don't even got to be a fan of zombies. I mean, just for the detailing in the figure and the poses you can achieve, I would say definitely pick this up if you see it at your local store. So that's it. That's all I got. Those are my thoughts on this one. We'll be back with reviews on these two guys here eventually. So just stay tuned. If you like what you see, please subscribe. Give me a like. Can't stress that enough. So until next time, guys, hope you stay frosty. 'Cause this is Thriller, and I don't know the words, and